All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's doing well. We are going to get started here in just a minute. I've got my top three things here that I want to walk you through here. So let us know quickly if you can hear me okay and you can see the screen. That would be great. And then we are about to get started. All right, perfect. Let's get started again. Good morning, everybody. Serge Berger here from The Steady Trader. This is our morning show. It's called Set the Market, 10 to 15 minutes going over what we consider to be some of the most important things for the day. So let's get moving. Give me just one more second to check one thing here. And then we are starting. Yep. Here we go. All right. Perfect. Okay, let's get started. 10-15 minutes, and then we'll be on our way. So, number one thing here this morning is what happened with semiconductors yesterday. And so I wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because what happened yesterday is this company called ASML Holding. It's actually the only manufacturer of high-end semiconductor manufacturing tools, like stuff that things like Taiwan Semiconductor and Samsung buys, who make the chips, right? Who then ultimately get sent to which then gets sent to things like Nvidia for making the whole thing. So, two lines. You can see ASML in blue, and you can see shares of Nvidia in red. And so, this is a stock that historically has been very closely correlated to Nvidia, or maybe even the other way around, because this is a crucially important company. It's a very big company too, but this is not a side story. So the question begs, given this positive correlation, is it possible that Nvidia ultimately goes the way of ASML? I don't know. It's not my base case, but I think from a risk management perspective, it's something we need to be open to. Remember, even a stock like Nvidia can easily correct 30-40%. That's in the cards. And so I just want to make sure people see what the storyline is here. ASML, by the way, on the year, it's now flat performance after the 16% drop or whatever. It's also this morning, because the main ticker is over on the Euronext exchange. It's a Dutch company. The stock's down another 3% or so this morning. Now that can be erased, of course, this morning. But so the stock is now basically flat on the year. Just so you guys know, we're more or less flat on the year, right? It actually may even be down on the year, depending on. It's probably down on the year. Anyway, so that's one thing I want to make sure people are aware of. Again, very high correlation between these two stocks, and something that I would be remiss not to have mentioned here. Any questions on this? Please let me know. The other thing that I want to quickly follow up on from yesterday that we mentioned is Boeing, and I was trying to find the forward PE yesterday, which was a total senior moment, I guess, on my end yesterday. Obviously, Boeing doesn't have a positive PE, because it's actually losing money, right? So that's part of the reason why I couldn't find it. Anyway, so this is a story, as I mentioned yesterday, of a systemically important company, in my view, for the United States. And I think ultimately there will be a great buying opportunity, because this is not a company, both from as an employer, the amount of employees that it has, from an engineering perspective, technology perspective, that the United States is going to want to let go. So this is not going out of business, in my view. There will be a backstop. It's too important to fail. Remember, the too big to fail from the banks. So it doesn't even matter what the valuations are, whether they're making money or not. Like there will be a backstop here, and there's probably going to be plenty of pressure from government officials at some point, if not already behind the scenes. I don't know, to make sure they get their act together. And it's almost a generation, a few decades worth of sort of a cultural thing that's been happening there, where unions have, I guess, not been treated as well as what I'm hearing from some of the analysts as they should have been. That's all, I don't have any insight into that directly outside of from what I'm getting from analysts. So anyway, I think there's going to be a tremendous buying opportunity, and I wouldn't be surprised if the stock at that point becomes double. Now, I'll be watching very closely, and we are watching very closely what when that might happen. So the green light to buy this stock as of right now, the way I'm looking at it, will be if and when the government starts forcing its hand on the company and supporting it in whatever fashion, right? Because at that point, it'll have a backstop. The government will have shown its hand, right? We're not there yet, at least not that I can see. Otherwise, the stock would be reacting much more. But that'll be when the stock's just going to rip, 5% in one day or 10% in one day to the upside, and then just continue going for like months, right? We're not there yet, but I think we will at some point get to that point. So that's something I just want to quickly follow up on from yesterday. Let's quickly go back to semiconductors. I was talking to JB this morning, and we were having our morning call as we do, and we were looking at this purely technically, right? All narratives aside, all hopes of AI and all those things aside, purely technically, what we saw yesterday in the SMH semiconductor ETF is what's called a bearish outside reversal day. That's this day right there. What took the stock market 6 days to go up, it erased in one day. Okay. That's what I always warn people about these kinds of stocks, because that happens all the time, and at some point it's going to happen so severely that it's going to literally wipe people out. So the question, of course, is, and I don't have an answer to this, is this a lower high? We don't know yet. It's way too early. One day does not make a trend, but it's possible that it's a lower high and we further consolidate, maybe even make a lower low. Again, I don't know. It's too early to tell, but I would absolutely circle yesterday's intraday highs on SMH. So go take your mouse right now, go over to your charting or trading platform and set an alert at 262 and change, or even just 262, right? That's going to be the level that we want to watch, because if the stock goes back, the SMH goes back above there, then this was just a one-off. I would also say if we get more follow through here over the course of the next number of days, the more that happens, the higher the likelihood that this is a lower high. And I can annotate this a little bit more for those people that may want me to do so. So what we're talking about is these two data points here, price points, right? So the absolute high, and there's another thing important here. The absolute high in mid-July, and a potentially, again, it's too early to tell, lower high yesterday on the back of what ASML said. There will be other companies in the semiconductor space that will be echoing comments of ASML. They missed their order book by like 50%. It's like pretty big deal, right? So a very big deal. So the other thing I want to point out, and this happens to SMH all the time, which is why it's such a great indicator. Look at these three candles here, and this is purely technical, but it's telling. Look what happens every time, the past few times I should say at least, when we had an outside reversal day. It basically marked the top for the stock for quite some time. So after the outside reversal day of March, we saw SMH drop after that another 10, 11%. After the outside reversal day in June, it dropped another 5%, rallied right back, and gave another outside reversal day. And after that outside reversal day, the SMH dropped as much as 25%. The question is it going to happen again right here, right now? If you want to be technical about this and you like to draw pictures and charts, and again, I always warn people there's more to markets than that, but you could envision that this ultimately ends up a head and shoulders pattern. Way too early to make that distinguishment, but given the fact that we've now had a series of outside reversal days, right? Would it be so shocking that the outside reversal day, both on the left-hand part of the shoulder, the top of the formation, and the right side would have been marked by outside reversal days? No, I think that actually would be very technically sound, okay? So these are the data points we're looking at. So hopefully this is helpful. Let me know if this is okay for you, if this makes sense. Would love to hear from you, a little bit of feedback. Also, I should mention this. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel and you give us a thumbs up like. That really helps us, and it also really helps you get updated on every morning when we start this Set the Market show, Monday through Thursday, and also any new live analysis, any new podcasts with great guests is also going to be you're going to be alerted on real time here on YouTube. All right, now having talked about SMH. The third thing I would like to talk about, and if you're an Inner Circle member, I already mentioned this yesterday in the Inner Circle chat room, and I have to quickly find the screenshot, so give me just 1 second here. Here, okay. This here is very interesting. This here is just to give people a little bit of perspective, and I realize a lot of people are somewhat new in to the markets and don't have necessarily the perspective on things. This is the talk both by the Fed officials and also by economists in 2007. Everyone was talking about a soft landing. Look at this. August 2007, February 2007, September 2007, okay? Everyone is talking about a soft landing. Right now, people are talking about a soft landing, right? And so I guess the question is, what is actually reasonable? Are we going to have a soft landing, or are the other economists and other people out there just kind of guessing? If you don't have the context on this, what happened after 2007, I just quickly would like to share with you what the chart looks like of, let's say, just the stock market. We'll look at the SPY ETF. So 2007, this is now quite a while ago. I have to screw back on the chart. Okay, so this area, let me try to box this in, is when people were talking about soft landing between February and, let's say, here. Okay, this period right there is when these headlines, this is a Google search. You can do this yourself. I'm not making this up. You type in Google search, type in 2007 soft landing, and you'll get a whole bunch of, talk about soft landings. That is this period right here in the box. Okay? I'm not saying we're going to fall off a cliff, but if you're going by what the economists and the Fed is saying, that's not exactly very helpful. So just for a little bit of perspective, from that point on, the S&P dropped 56%. Okay? I'll do the mic drop here now. So we're at the 15-minute mark. I hope this has been helpful. If you guys have any questions, please do ask and come prepared again for tomorrow. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Eastern for 10 to 15 minutes, going through the most important things. So again, this is important. I would encourage everyone to take a screenshot of this. Very, very important. Number one. And number two, is this chart here. Remember that, in fact, I can show it to you here. I even have it separately on a chart here. This chart here of ASML potentially leading NVIDIA. Again, I don't think NVIDIA is going to crash, but given the positive correlation of these two stocks and ASML's warning from yesterday will be reflected in other semiconductor stocks too, maybe less so in NVIDIA. We'll find out. But it's a good opportunity here to start reviewing long positions in NVIDIA, maybe hedging them, maybe trimming them. That's certainly not financial advice. It's just through the lens of coaching or the lens of education, what I would be considering here if I was long NVIDIA in many, many different portfolios and different ways. Again, thanks for joining here. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and you give us a thumbs up. That allows us to continue to make this show, but also, maybe more importantly for you, is going to alert you when this morning show happens, and you'll be updated also on new videos, podcasts, live analysis that we do here on YouTube. I'll see all of you guys in the boot camp that have signed up for the boot camp. We're going to go ready with go into our inflation portfolio today. All it starts at 11 o'clock here Eastern this morning. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock New York time right here on YouTube. I'll see you guys then.